Why your strategy fails. Let's talk about a trader. We can call him James. James was on the verge of a breakthrough. He had found a solid strategy, he'd done his backtesting, and for 2 incredible weeks, it was working perfectly. He was disciplined, focused, and profitable. He felt like he had finally cracked the code. Then it happened. A single losing trade, one that followed his rules perfectly, seemed to flip a switch in his mind. The calm focus was replaced by a frantic urgency. He widened his stop on the next trade, convinced it would turn around. It didn't. Stung by the loss, he jumped into an impulsive revenge trade, over-leveraged, trying to win it all back in one shot. Within a few hours, 2 weeks of disciplined gains were gone, and then some. He was left staring at his screen, completely drained, asking himself that soul-crushing question, what just happened? Was it James's strategy that failed him, or was it something else entirely? Something invisible, something vital that had simply run out. This story is a painful reality for so many of us. We spend countless hours, months, even years searching for the problem in the wrong place. We look for it in our charts, our indicators, our strategies. We tweak, we optimize, we system hop, convinced that a better external tool is the answer. But the real problem isn't the software we're running. It's the hardware it's running on, the human brain. The true bottleneck to your performance is a finite resource you might not even be tracking. We're going to call it cognitive bandwidth. Think of it as the measurable, limited amount of mental energy you have available for high-level thinking, for complex decision-making, and most importantly, for emotional control. Every single decision you make as a trader, from analyzing a setup to resisting an impulse, draws from this same limited battery. The catastrophic meltdown that James experienced wasn't a random failure of discipline. It was the predictable, inevitable result of a completely depleted cognitive battery. So, to truly understand what's happening inside our minds when that battery depletes, we need to look at our own internal hardware. Think of your brain as having a chief executive officer. This CEO is your prefrontal cortex, the sophisticated part of your brain right behind your forehead. It's responsible for all the things that make you a great trader, like logical reasoning, long-term planning, impulse control, and emotional regulation. Your prefrontal cortex is the architect, but it's also incredibly energy-intensive. It consumes a huge amount of your cognitive bandwidth to operate at its peak. When it gets tired and fatigued, another part of the brain takes over. This is the amygdala, the more primitive emotional core. The amygdala is the reactor. It's designed for survival, for fight or flight, and it makes decisions based on immediate feelings like fear and greed. When your prefrontal cortex runs out of energy, the CEO effectively leaves the office, and the panicked, emotional intern is put in charge of your entire trading account. It's a neurological hijacking. You can think of your cognitive bandwidth like the RAM on your computer. When you have plenty of RAM available, you can run complex software smoothly. But as you open more and more applications, the system slows down, starts to lag, and eventually it crashes. Your brain is no different. This is why we must start thinking of ourselves not just as traders, but as cognitive athletes. Consider a grandmaster chess player in the middle of a 6-hour match, or a Formula One driver navigating a corner at 200 miles per hour. These elite performers understand that their mental state is their most valuable asset. They don't just train their technical skills, they obsessively train and manage their cognitive energy. They know that a momentary lapse in focus, a decision clouded by fatigue, is what leads to the unforced error that can cost them everything. As a trader, you are in the same high-performance field. Your ability to generate profits over the long run isn't determined by your single best day when you're fresh and focused. It's determined by your ability to prevent the catastrophic errors that always happen on your worst days, on the days you are the most cognitively depleted. Adopting this athletic mindset means you stop blaming discipline and start managing your energy with intention. And we have to manage it intentionally because trading is uniquely, almost perfectly designed to drain this resource faster than almost any other profession. There are a few key reasons for this. First, there's the constant mental strain of probabilistic thinking. Our brains are wired for certainty, for cause and effect, but the market is a world of probabilities. Every setup is a guess, an educated one, but a guess nonetheless. This fundamental conflict between our brain's desire for certainty and the market's random reality creates a constant, low-level cognitive dissonance that slowly eats away at our bandwidth. On top of that, there's the challenge of unstructured time. Unlike a 9-to-5 job where the boundaries are set for you, the market is always there. A trader must create structure from pure chaos, deciding when to start, when to stop, and when to sit on their hands. This act of imposing structure and resisting the temptation to be in the action requires a tremendous amount of executive function burning through our reserves. And perhaps the most potent drain of all is the direct, real-time feedback loop of money. Every decision we make is immediately translated into a number on our screen, a profit or a loss. This pours emotional fuel onto the cognitive fire. Watching your P&L fluctuate is a constant stream of microdoses of fear and greed, forcing your prefrontal cortex to work overtime to keep you from making impulsive, emotionally driven decisions until, eventually, it can't anymore. Now that we understand the forces that deplete our mental energy, we can start to identify and neutralize the specific habits that cause the drain. Let's break down the 3 silent killers of your cognitive bandwidth, the leaks that operate in the background of your trading day. The first, and perhaps the most pervasive, is system ambiguity. Think about it. If your trading plan is vague, if your rules are subjective, your brain is forced to make dozens of small, stressful decisions in the heat of the moment, right when you are most vulnerable. Questions like, is this really my A+ setup, or is it a B-? Should I enter the trade now, or should I wait for a little more confirmation? Where exactly should my stop loss go on this particular trade? Each one of these questions, as small as it may seem, is a tax on your cognitive bandwidth. It's a withdrawal from your mental bank account. Now imagine an architect showing up to a construction site with just a rough sketch on a napkin. The chaos, the indecision, the constant on-the-fly problem-solving would be overwhelming. Professionals don't work that way. An architect arrives with a detailed blueprint where every single decision has already been made in advance, in a calm, rational, and objective environment. Your trading plan must be your blueprint. The solution is to architect a behavioral blueprint that is so clear, so mechanical, and so objective that a 10-year-old could follow it. It should remove as much in-the-moment discretion as possible. It should read like a pilot's pre-flight checklist. Your entry criteria must be defined with zero ambiguity. Your exit rules for both profit and loss must be non-negotiable. Your position sizing must be a mathematical formula, not a feeling. The goal here is to shift the heavy lifting from real-time, high-pressure decision-making to the effortless execution of a plan you already built when you were at your most logical. Even with a perfect blueprint, you are still a human being, not a robot. This leads us directly to the second major drain on your cognitive bandwidth, which is emotional reactivity. Emotions like fear after a loss, greed during a winning streak, or anger when you miss a move are not just abstract feelings. They are powerful physiological events inside your brain. They are a neurological hijacking. When your emotional center, the amygdala, fires up, it literally diverts blood flow and precious energy away from your prefrontal cortex, the CEO of your brain. You are, in a very real sense, neurologically less intelligent when you are in a heightened emotional state. It's like trying to run a complex financial modeling software on a powerful laptop that has a hidden computer virus running in the background, consuming 90% of the processing power. The system will inevitably fail. So the solution isn't to suppress emotions, which is impossible, but to have pre-planned, drilled responses to them. This is where emotional regulation drills come in. One of the most powerful and immediate tools is a physiological one called the 4-second box breath. When you feel a strong emotion rising, you simply inhale for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and then hold the exhale for 4 seconds. Repeating this just a few times breaks the feedback loop and helps bring your prefrontal cortex back online. Another tool is cognitive reframing. Instead of saying, "I am angry," you learn to say, "I am experiencing the sensation of anger right now." This simple change in language creates a space between you and the emotion, turning you from a participant into an observer. Finally, you can build what are called if-then protocols. This means you decide in advance how you will respond to an emotional trigger. For example, if I feel the urge to revenge trade after a big loss, then I will immediately close my trading platform and walk away for 15 minutes, no exceptions. These are not signs of weakness, they are the tools of a professional. Finally, we come to the third and most addictive drain, one that most traders engage in every single minute they are at their desk. This is outcome fixation. It's the habit of constantly watching your profit and loss number fluctuate with every tick of the market. This single activity is one of the biggest possible drains on your cognitive bandwidth. It creates a perpetual feedback loop of microdoses of fear and greed. When the number is green, you feel a hit of euphoria and greed, tempting you to take profit too early. When the number turns red, you feel a spike of fear and anxiety, tempting you to cut a good trade short or widen your stop out of hope. Your prefrontal cortex is forced to work constantly to manage these endless emotional spikes, burning through your energy reserve. The best analogy for this is trying to drive a car while staring exclusively at the speedometer. You're so focused on the immediate result that you've taken your eyes off the road, off the process that actually creates the result. The solution is a radical shift in focus from outcome to process. The first practical step is to, wherever possible, hide your real-time P&L during the trading day. If your platform allows it, turn it off. Your focus should be on one thing and one thing only: perfect execution of your blueprint. To reinforce this, you will use a tool we call the Cognitive Audit Journal at the end of each day. Instead of just writing down your trades, you will answer a different set of questions. For example, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well did I adhere to my behavioral blueprint today? At what specific moment did I feel my cognitive bandwidth begin to decrease? What was the trigger for that feeling? And what was my pre-planned response? This practice systematically shifts your definition of a good day from "a day I made money" to "a day I executed my process flawlessly." When you do that, profitability becomes a natural byproduct of excellent execution, not something you chase. So now that you can identify the leaks in your cognitive battery, it's time to become an active architect. It is time to build the systems and routines that not only plug those leaks, but proactively protect and recharge your mental energy. This isn't about finding more discipline through willpower. It's about designing an environment where good decisions are easier to make. This is the Architect's Toolkit. The first tool is a non-negotiable morning routine we call the Pre-Market Cognitive Prime. And let's be very clear, this has nothing to do with analyzing the markets. This is a 15-minute mental warm-up designed to bring your prefrontal cortex fully online and align your mind with your intentions before you ever look at a chart. Your routine begins with 5 minutes of mindful grounding. This can be a simple meditation, focusing on your breath, or just sitting in silence. The goal is to quiet the external noise and the internal chatter, to start the day from a baseline of calm. The next 5 minutes are for your blueprint review. You will open your behavioral blueprint, your trading plan, and you will read the entire thing out loud. Reading it aloud activates different parts of your brain and reinforces the rules on a deeper level, priming your mind for what constitutes a correct action. The final 5 minutes are for process visualization. You will close your eyes and mentally rehearse your trading day. See yourself flawlessly executing your plan. See your ideal setup appear. See yourself calmly entering the trade. Crucially, you must also visualize yourself calmly taking a loss, following your stop-loss rule without hesitation and feeling no negative emotional charge. You are building the neural pathways for desired behavior before the pressure is even on. You wouldn't expect a concert pianist to perform without warming up their hands. You must not expect yourself to perform in the markets without warming up your mind. The second tool in your kit is for when you're in the heat of the battle. We call it the in-session hard reset. Even with a perfect morning routine, every single trader will experience cognitive decline during a live session. The amateur ignores it and pushes through until they crash. The professional recognizes it and acts decisively. You must first define your personal triggers for a hard reset. These could be things like experiencing 2 consecutive losing trades, breaking one of your rules, or simply feeling a rising sense of anxiety or agitation. When any one of these triggers is hit, the protocol is immediate and non-negotiable. You will stand up and you will step away from your screen for a mandatory 10-minute hard reset. During these 10 minutes, there are strict rules. You will not check your phone. You will not watch financial news. You will not even think about the markets. The goal is to create a complete pattern interrupt to allow your prefrontal cortex a moment to recover. What you should do is change your physical state. Go outside for a moment if you can. Drink a full glass of water. Do a few simple stretches. You are breaking the mental feedback loop and allowing your nervous system to return to baseline. This isn't a punishment. It's a professional's tool for maintaining peak performance throughout a demanding session. It's the cognitive athlete's equivalent of a strategic timeout. Finally, we need a tool to ensure that the stress of the market doesn't bleed into the rest of our lives, which would prevent us from fully recharging for the next day. This is the post-market system shutdown. So many traders end their day by just closing their laptop, but their mind is still churning, replaying trades, and carrying that stress with them. A clean shutdown is absolutely crucial for long-term cognitive recovery and sustainability. This ritual has 3 simple steps. First, you will complete your cognitive audit journal for the day. You'll answer your questions about process and mental state, extracting the lessons from the day's session. Second, you will plan one single variable to focus on for improvement in your next session. Maybe it's to be more patient on your entry, or to better manage a winning trade. Just one thing. This gives your mind a sense of forward progress. And the third and final step is to verbally declare your session over. You will literally say the words out loud, "My work is done." This simple act creates a powerful psychological boundary. It tells your brain that it is now safe to disengage from the market, to stop analyzing, and to begin the vital process of rest and recovery. This ritual ensures that when you show up tomorrow, you are showing up with a cognitive battery that is as close to 100% as possible. This entire system, from the morning prime to the evening shutdown, leads to the ultimate paradigm shift in your trading career. For years, you have likely been told to find a better map, a better strategy, a better indicator. But I am telling you today to first build a better vehicle, which is your own mind. A flawed vehicle will inevitably crash, no matter how perfect the map is. But a robust, resilient, and well-maintained vehicle can navigate any terrain the market throws at it. This is the shift from being a passive participant in the market, a reactor, to becoming the active architect of your own performance. You finally realize that your true edge is not found in some secret line on a chart. Your edge is the meticulously designed mental operating system that you bring to the market each and every day. You are not a market analyst. You are a manager of your own cognitive resources. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is not to find a new trade or a new strategy. It is to perform your first cognitive audit. For the next 5 trading days, I want you to spend just 10 minutes at the end of each day with your journal. And I want you to rate your cognitive bandwidth on a scale of 1 to 10 at several key moments. Rate it before you started your session, after your very first trade, immediately after a losing trade, and at the very end of your day. The goal is to simply gather data. Identify the number one activity or moment that consistently drains your energy the most. Because awareness is the first essential step to becoming an architect of your mind. When you have understood and accepted this mission, go to the comment section below this video and declare your intention by writing, "I am the architect."